When things have fallen apart or some parts of your life are just not working the way you want them, no matter how hard you have tried, it's usually the sign that life is trying to show you it is time to finally detach and focus on yourself. It's okay to be curious about the past, about what happened, and process it with self compassion. And that's actually what we are supposed to do. But what usually happens is that we get stuck in what happened in the story. We give so much importance to what happened that we let it define us. So we start talking about ourselves according to what happened. We say things like, I'm like this because of what happened 30 years ago, or I'm like that because of what happened yesterday. So slowly we become strangers to ourselves. And one day we wake up and we realize that we have lost ourselves in our past, in what happened. Now, what is left of us is just this long story about what happened, how we interpreted what happened, and how we reacted to what happened. And in that story, the focus is on everything except us. Maybe you keep telling that story about yourself in your mind or to others because it just feels like you, it feels familiar. In that story, you get something to hold on to and justify the person you have become, justify where you are in life. But now life wants you to see who you are without that story. Just a few weeks ago, I woke up from one of those stories that I have been telling about myself that is related to a chronic problem I have had for years. And I had just a special moment, and I suddenly realized that if that problem gets resolved, I won't have much to think about. I won't have anything to try so hard to fix. And in that moment, I felt like a big part of me was missing. I felt empty without that problem. It was just so eye opening for me. But at the same time, that moment gave me a sense of detachment for the first time after since that problem had started. When I say detached, I don't mean I don't care about anything or anyone anymore or I became numb, because these two are ego or the small self strategies to cope with unwanted situations. And following these two strategies keep you stuck. Detachment to me is not letting what happened define you. It means not letting people and circumstances change you and make you a person you are not. Someone you don't like to see in the mirror, someone you don't like to be with. Detachment means not letting what happened keep you from truly living. It means stopping the habit of losing yourself in the chaos of life situations and letting yourself find your way back to your core. To detach, we need to stop fighting with the past, with what happened, because it has already happened and we can't fix it, we can't change it. To detach, we also need to let go of the need to control what happens next, control the future. We need to let go of all what could have happened, what should have happened, and what can happen in the future. I think we do that because this fight with the past and this constant need to control the future, it all happens in the mind, and we most of the time we don't see that. We don't see that we are fighting. We don't see that we are trying so hard to control everything. But if we become honest with ourselves, we can see it. And I'm honest with myself, and I know that I've been fighting a lot. But it's not the true or real part of me that is fighting with the past or trying to control the future. It's the small self or the ego that is fighting and it's trying to control. And it's all because of the fear that past caused. So it may not be easy to process that fear and reassure that scared part of us that we are just going to be fine. But it is definitely possible and it is what we are supposed to do. And I can tell you from experience that it's a lot harder to stay in that fight with the past and trying to control the future, to live like that. The part of us that holds on to that story is the small self or the ego, because it does that because it's trying to validate itself through giving significance, meaning, and importance to what has already happened. And it tries to control what happens next to protect you from not experiencing the same pain again. It holds on to that story to justify the person you have become today or where you are in life. Ironically, that clinging, that constant need to explain, to control, to make sense of everything is exactly what keeps same situations repeating. What happened in the past, as I have said in many of my videos, have created some mental and emotional patterns in you that are shaping your life in every moment. But what happened in the past is not happening anymore. So you are the one repeating those mental and emotional patterns by not being aware of them, by not seeing them as they get activated within you. And the only remedy to that is not digging through the past, is being present, seeing those patterns as they play out, recognizing that those patterns are not you, and knowing that you can detach from those patterns. And then instead of focusing on the stories and what happened in the past or what's going to happen in future, you can finally focus on yourself. You can finally see who you are and you can finally decide what kind of life you really want to live.